The economy is uncertain, but the families who stay financially steady, they aren't guessing about what's coming, they're preparing for it.
If you don't know us, I'm Larry.
I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where practical frugality meets real life.
Every Monday in December, we are doing what we are calling our Money Monday series. It's the future of frugal. What does frugality look like in 2026? What's around the corner, and how can you figure out what your next best step is to keep your finances in order and keep spending less and saving more in 2026? Now, this is part number 4 in the series. If you've missed the first 3 parts, don't worry. I'll make sure that it is linked in the description of this video, and we'll also put it at the end of this video. We've been preparing our personal budget for 2026, and there are 6 different areas that we are concerned about, and we are convinced in our mind these are going to go up, maybe way up in 2026. We'll go through each of those different expenses in this video, and stick with us because for each of those expenses, we're going to tell you what some preparations are that you can take to handle those expenses and those rising prices in 2026.
Area number 1 is utilities. Now, utilities have a way of going up quietly, silently, almost secretly behind our backs, because we don't really see them as visible as like things going up at the store, at the grocery store. These are things that can happen and you don't really notice it until you get the bill, maybe 30 days later.
And part of this too is the fact that when we get our utility bill, we just go, okay, well, that's what they charge me, and we pay the bill.
Yeah.
And it never crosses our minds, wait a minute, if I don't like the amount of this bill, what can I do to change it? So the first thing that we would encourage you to do is to figure out where you're going to get sources of reliable, balanced information about utility company prices. We just had this happen because for a while now, we've been signed up for a weekly newsletter from Citizens Utility Board. They are in the state of Illinois. They are a watchdog group, and their goal is to make sure that the citizens of Illinois get fair prices on both electricity and natural gas. I got that newsletter a few weeks ago, and it said in bold print that our utility company was seeking a huge increase on both electricity and natural gas. These increases are going to be in the form of just basic additional fees that you're going to have to pay. So it's not related to your usage, which means that there's no way for you to lower those costs. They're just going to appear on your bill. Now, that actually was helpful information to me, because what that means to me is I got to figure out what I can control.
Exactly.
You've got to understand your utility bill, and you got to know what parts on that bill are in your control and what parts are out of your control. Because the parts that are in your control are generally those things that are related to your usage. That means that ultimately, if you drop your usage, your bill is going to drop appropriately. So we set a concrete goal immediately and said what we want to do. We want to drop our natural gas by 10%, and we want to drop our electricity by 10%. And the goal, believe it or not, in this case, is just to keep that bill steady and even with what it was 12 months ago. Because dropping the bill, our theory is, and we're going to test it, is that we're going to need to drop more than 10% in each of those areas to get the bill to budge. So you got to start out with a baseline. And here's the next thing I will tell you as far as preparation is concerned. Data is your friend.
It is.
You have to get as many hard numbers as you can. What specifically are they charging you per kilowatt hour? What are they charging you per therm for natural gas? What are the areas that can be, when you lower your usage, what other areas of your bill are going to budge a little bit? Do the taxes go down if you use less of that product?
Yeah.
You need to know these things, and then you need to set a benchmark for yourself, set a goal, and you need to figure out what habits are driving your usage.
One other thing you can look at in terms of utilities are the certain times of the day when they charge less.
Yep.
Like, do they charge less at night than they do in the afternoon or morning? A lot of them do. So if there's something you can run at night, let's say your washer and dryer, maybe you can run that at night just before you go to bed instead of running it at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning when the prices are going to be higher.
Other than utilities, what else is on our mind? Let's move to area number 2 that we say it's going to go up in price.
Category number 2 is food, and we're talking about consumables.
But wait, before we get into that, I need to mention that if you are digging this series and it's helpful to you, then first of all, we need you to give us a thumbs up because that does help us with the YouTube algorithm. But secondly, if you'd like worksheets that go along with every single one of this 5-part series, you can get a workbook called The Future of Frugal, and it is absolutely free. It's an instant download when you sign up for our wait list for the Frugal Finance Super Pack. Now, the Super Pack is only available twice a year. It goes on sale again in January. This is our regular Frugal Finance bundle, but during this time of the year only, we add 4 high-value free bonuses when you buy the Super Pack. So make sure you get your Future of Frugal free workbook. You'll be signed up to the wait list, which has a whole lot of really cool perks that come with being a member of the wait list. I'll leave a link, guys, in the video description. Now, back to food.
Shelf prices may not be rising on everything that you're buying at the store, but they have other ways of making the price go up that you may not be aware of. And this is what we have to pay close attention to. And what are those areas, Hope?
I'm so glad you asked. Shrinkflation. Anybody else notice this? How hard is it to get a 16-ounce can or a 16-ounce bag of frozen corn now? They don't exist. They're like a unicorn because almost all of the manufacturers of frozen corn, it's now 12 ounces instead of 16 ounces. Well, last time I checked, that was a pretty hefty amount less. That's a good reduction, but you're still paying the same price at checkout. That's the kind of stuff that people don't notice. But here's the other thing. I'm just going to challenge you on this just for a hot second. I wonder if the people who are saying that they're not seeing any noticeable increase in prices at the grocery store, are they relying on muscle memory? Are they thinking they know what stuff is costing, but they really don't know because they're actually not tracking it?
One of the costs that we hated to see rise, because this is one of our favorite things we like to buy from Aldi's, is their saltines. 2 years ago, they were 75 cents a box. Now they're $1.79 a box. That's an amazing rise in price. And those are becoming more competitive with store brand saltines.
What's interesting to me is that like 2.5 years ago, there was this like huge disparity between, say, saltines you were going to buy at Kroger and saltines you could get at Aldi.
Yes.
It was like 40% less. Now it's still a little bit less, but it's so close in price that if those saltines go on sale, if saltines go on sale at Kroger, I'm going to check and see if it's less than $1.79 a box because I know that's less than my fave store, which is Aldi.
Here's another example of things that you need to pay attention to. Sales cycles have changed. They've lengthened. Where sales cycles used to be maybe 8 weeks, now they're 12 weeks. And they're not reducing those prices as much as they used to.
Let's give you a really quick example. The cost of pasta. Pasta used to go on sale regularly, so for say 79 cents a pound. And that would be every 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Now it's closer to 10 to 12 weeks before you see that same sales cycle come back around. And 97 cents for 16 ounces of pasta, that's going to be a pretty good sale price right now. So you're still seeing those cycles, but they're lengthening and the price that they're lowering it to is not quite as low as it used to be. Here's another thing when it comes to food that I think is super important. And these are all things, we have so many things we do to keep a low grocery budget. But these are the things we feel like are going to be impacted by what's happening in 2026. And that's why we're sharing them right now. One of the things that I've noticed is that some of the sales that people like us who rely on grocery store markdowns, on those deep discounts to really make our grocery budget work, that is becoming a lot harder. For instance, the Kroger red mesh bags, the beloved Kroger red mesh bags that for years and years were 99 cents, everything in the red mesh bag, you got it for 99 cents at checkout, up to $1.50 now. 50% increase.
So now that you know some of the problems that are involved, how do you prep for it? Well, one of the things Hope and I would recommend is keeping some kind of a price list. This is where you write down on a sheet of paper the prices of your favorite items at your favorite store. This gives you an idea if things are going up, you could track it because you've got it written down. And if something is much cheaper at another store, you can very clearly see that.
We have a set of grocery store price trackers that we have in our shop. I'll make sure, guys, that it's linked. In case you want ours, we'll make sure that it's linked in the description of the video. Now, the other thing you want to do is make sure that you are stocking up on deals when you can find them. But here's the caveat. Make sure you're doing it in such a way that you're not inadvertently blowing out your grocery budget. We did this for years, and here is our quick fix. It's called the 1/5 method. Every month, we take 1/5 of our grocery budget and we set it aside. That is set aside for when we find incredible deals and we want to stock up. Thus, we call it our stocking up money.
Yes.
Just having that sort of separated from the rest of the grocery budget has allowed us to use the money throughout the month and take advantage of those deals without all of a sudden feeling like our grocery budget was way out of control and we had to pull way back the next month in order to get it back into control.
Once again, you'll have to know exactly how much money you have reserved so that when you find something on sale, you spend that money within what you already have saved up for it.
Of course, we would be remiss if we didn't say have a fully stocked pantry and freezer. Know what you have in the pantry and freezer and know what you have on hand, say, in your refrigerator. Best way to do this, every Thursday we do our perishable food inventory. We pull the perishable food out, we arrange it so that the items with the shortest shelf life, we make a list, perishable food list, and the items that are really on the edge need to be used up first, shortest shelf life, those go at the top of the list, which means, of course, that the list is what, guys? It is prioritized. That alone, and then we make a menu planner. I do a topical menu planner. If you want to know what we're eating this week, there you go. That's what we're eating this week. And I make sure that I use those items up. That one tip alone, that hack, my friends, has helped us to lower our grocery budget by 20% just by doing the topical weekly menu planner and the perishable food inventory on Thursday nights.
Our third area of expenses that's going up are durable goods. Now, these aren't quite as easy to have a handle on because you don't buy them that often. These are things like furniture, like a couch or a chair or an ottoman or a desk, things that cost quite a little bit of money that you occasionally buy. We had this happen to us just this week where one of our durable goods fell down and quit on us, and that was my snowblower.
It was a bad week to have the snowblower fail. I'm going to say that.
It was, because we had about 6 inches of snow followed by another 3 or 4, and then the temperatures all went down below 0. So we really needed a snowblower. Instead, we engaged our 2 young men out there and they shoveled the driveway. So I did some research on the snowblower, and the one that we had was a plug-in snowblower. And there were quite a few different things I didn't like about it. I didn't mind the fact that it was plug-in, but it wasn't very heavy. It wouldn't handle real heavy or wet snow.
So you notice the first thing Larry did in preparation for something like this. And once again, durable goods, it's anything that is considered to be lasting 3 years or more. That's the definition of durable goods.
Oh, good, yeah.
Refrigerators, freezers,
Stoves,
all of those things are durable goods.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we suggest that you do in preparation for seeing those prices go up, because they are. And one of the reasons, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it, are the tariffs. That's the reason some of these things are going up. We just bought some things for our home security system.
Yeah.
And there was
Cameras.
a tariff tax that was in there. And we had no choice but to pay it at checkout. So some of the expenses that you'll see are not necessarily the prices. When you go to check out, you're going to see some of those tariff costs.
They'll
that are
add some
included.
onto it.
They're going to be added on. And you can't do anything about that except just know by the time you get to checkout those may or they may not be there. So you can't go just on the basic price. But you need to do what Larry did. He made a hate list, basically, of things that he did not like about that first snowblower that died with 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Then he made a list of what he really wanted to have in a snowblower, one of which was not a plastic auger, but
a metal auger.
Metal auger, very important.
Yes.
Make those lists. Go ahead and do that, because the first thing that happens when something breaks and it's an emergency type situation. You're like, I got to replace this. Is we tend to hit the panic button, and that panic button is that big red buy button. And we go out and we buy the first thing we can possibly see that is going to replace that item. Don't do that. 48 hours generally is not going to be the make or break point between whether it is a true emergency or you can really plan for it a little bit. In 48 hours, you can do a lot of research, guys.
You sure can.
You can figure out what you really need versus what you want. You can figure out what a basic good price is for that. You can look around for coupons. You can look around for deals. You can figure out if there's something in your area that is on sale because you can deal directly with the store. Go ahead, do your due diligence. And here's something else. We do this every January. We have a replacement list.
We do.
What is sitting around our house making weird noises or not acting like it's quite supposed to that we think in the next 12 months, we're probably going to have to replace it? That replacement list allows you to do two things. You make the replacement list what? You make it prioritized. And so the most important things, most urgent things go at the top. And then you can do all of your due diligence. You can do all your research ahead of time. And that is so incredibly helpful when something does all of a sudden stop working. You're like, nope, got a game plan.
Area number 4 is healthcare. And even with insurance, the cost of everything involving healthcare will go up next year.
Our healthcare costs, just for health insurance and for dental insurance, which is bundled in with our health insurance, is $1,350 a month just for the insurance. Now, that does not include the cost that we pay for prescriptions. That does not include the cost that we pay for tests, the co-pays for doctor visits.
Right.
It doesn't take any of that into consideration. And yes, it went up a pretty good chunk for 2026. So what do? First of all, you need to look at what you can do with preventative care. What can you do that's going to keep you from having to be on medications? That is really important. Self-care is indeed, now more than ever before, it is healthcare.
It is.
And you want to look around and make a list of ways that you can save money on those costs. Are there programs that are available that allow you to get low cost or no cost prescriptions? You need to research this. Once again, you are seeing that the reason that the panic button isn't hit is because you are doing the planning in advance. So figure out exactly what you can do and what you can control.
Here's something else we do. In addition to the $1,350 a month that we pay, we're figuring on probably $300 more for co-pays, prescription drugs that we might need to buy, and so forth. So we have a fund that we save that money into, so we have that ready as well.
At the first of every month, $300 goes into that special account, and we treat it like a sinking fund. Now, will we use $3,600? Probably not. But the yearly deductible on the healthcare insurance for the boys and I is $2,400 a person. So it's possible that we could use that $3,600 in its entirety. We did not this year. So what is in there is going to roll over for next year, and we're going to continue to build that fund with the $300 a month.
Expense number 5 is transportation costs. Now, transportation costs have gone up so much in the last couple of years that we feel this is a trend and will continue on to next year. The cost of buying a used car has gone up exponentially. It's unbelievable how much you have to pay for a car, let's say that's maybe 4 or 5 years old. We actually reduced that. That's what our standard used to be, 4 years and 40,000 miles. Well, we reduced that now to, we've made it about 6 or 7 years and maybe 80,000, 90,000 miles to pick up a used car. So you have to have some more money that you have available for transportation.
Here are your tips for preparation in this area. Transportation is a lot more than just the cost of buying the car.
It is.
It's the cost of insuring, it's car upkeep, it's gasoline. There are a lot of things that are encompassed in that transportation category. Make sure that you've accounted for everything in that category. Now, the cost of labor is going up. So you want to find a shop in your area that does really good quality work and does it for a reasonable cost and make sure that you know who you generally talk to about your automobile needs that works in that shop.
Another thing you can do as part of your control is you can take less trips with your car. Make sure that the trip that you're taking out there in the car is very important and necessary.
And make sure you drive in such a way that you get the maximum miles per gallon that you possibly can from the gasoline that you're putting in your car's engine. Now, another thing that you want to do is, and this is something that we have advocated for years, the minute that we purchase a car, because we never take out car loans, we haven't for decades.
Long time. Yeah.
The minute that we buy a car, we start a sinking fund for the next car.
Yeah.
We put a specific amount of money aside every single month in a special account that we don't touch that is for replacing that car.
Expense area number 6. These are the quiet expenses. These are the expenses that are sort of in the background. They don't show up right out front. These are like subscriptions that you have. Maybe some video subscriptions where you watch TV and you're signed up to Netflix or Hulu or whichever one that you want to pay for because you like the programming. Well, you need to do an inventory of all of those subscriptions. Make sure that you're using them. If you're not using them to the degree that you're paying for them, they're not worth it. And go ahead and cancel those.
Part of what happens is we tend to put things like streaming subscriptions on auto pay, right?
Yes.
So it's automatically deducted on the same day every month out of your account. And that is why it sometimes takes a while for you to realize, oh, wait a minute. The cost of Netflix just went up $2-3 a month, and I've not been paying attention for how many months? Oh, it's been that way for 6 months.
Yeah.
Here is the strategy for dealing with that. You have to be in your bank account. You have to know what is in your bank account, what's going into your bank account, and what is coming out of your bank account. You have to look at your online bank account every single day. And I know that feels like a lot, but it just doesn't take that long to look at your account and say, what was paid out of this account today? And what did I purchase today? And then you're making sure that you are tracking that somewhere. We use every dollar from Dave Ramsey. We use the free version.
I'm going to say that, the free version.
And we use that for our daily expenses. We have a monthly spreadsheet that we use that tracks all of our monthly expenses. In that spreadsheet, we also have all of our goals for the upcoming year. We have quarterly goals also and monthly goals that we track. We have all of our sinking funds listed. We have our cash flow goals listed where we're just going to save up extra cash to pay for something out of pocket. All of that is listed in those spreadsheets. And in fact, those spreadsheets are available. Our spreadsheets available to you, and that comes in the Frugal Finance Super Pack. So I want to remind you once again that if you have not yet received your free Future of Frugal workbook, you want to make sure that you sign up. It's an instant download. Then you'll be on the wait list for the Frugal Finance Super Pack, which goes on sale in January with 4 amazing high-value extra bonuses.
If you found this video helpful, but you haven't seen the rest of the videos in this series that we're doing every Monday in December, then we're going to leave a link right over there so you can start watching those and catch up on how to prepare for 2026.